Well, girl, I guess before we even get started, I just might as well tell you, you know how you were a little girl and used to go to school, and your mama packed up something nice for lunch from home, and it might be something that you anticipating, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, like at that first little break that you get, you gone on and sneak and eat your little lunch that you supposed to have later.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Well, sis, I done messed around and ate the little, plate from the cookout I had yesterday that's supposed to be for today's dinner. I done
Mm.
ate that for today's breakfast. You see my dilemma?
J- you is missing a plate.
Girl. And here's the thing that I really got mad about it and my feelings about, sis. First of all, the corona is snatching everything. You cannot hustle up on a good cookout that's safe, where they using a charcoal grill. You see how all the factors come into place.
You have to ensure that the appropriate things are happening at the cookout, and not just all that, Leticia, but also who is there,
Oh,
because
mm,
everybody ain't right.
mm-mm.
Everybody ain't right. Everybody ain't been living in their corona truth the way that they're supposed to.
Listen, you could not be telling the truth more than right that moment. Um, I asked the very same question: who all gonna be over there? Followed by who all been over there, because that's also reverent now. Now listen, I normally don't ask that second question with who all done been over there. I normally don't ask that question. Or have you had outside visitors from your home? Have people in your home traveled within the last 14 days by air, plane, train, automobile, other than your own vehicle? I mean, I could drill it on down.
Which brings me to this point about, okay, personal HIPAA.
Oh, come on.
So, do I have a right to ask you if you or anyone in your home has been diagnosed with coronavirus?
If you're visiting here and if I visit there, yes, that is fair game. I'm not offended if you ask me to take my temperature at your door. I am not offended, or I can provide you. Now, I would bring my own thermometer and prefer, and I will do my own temperature check on your doorstep. I have no problem with that. And also accepting of the protocols that others have instituted in their home. You don't come through that threshold without being hit with a little Mr. Lysol, baby.
Just a little,
Just a
just,
little, like you
just,
put on that light blue Dolce and Gabbana, you gonna put on this light blue Lysol, smelling like crisp linen. She
yes.
will.
Chris
Mm-hmm.
Linen is the scent of
Mm-hmm.
of the time.
Of the time, girl, I had to get so tickled the other day since I squirted that myself with that crisp linen Lysol, like boom, boom. I had put on Chanel number 5, number 2, and 8.
Hmm.
I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. The Pisces life. Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. 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 The Pisces life.
Now, this is the thing, I guess, that um, I want to. This is a PSA. This
Oh,
I was like, what shall I call this?
public service
It's a
announcement
pub.
incoming.
It's a public service announcement.
Wait, maybe we should call it Pisces service announcement.
Yeah,
Boom,
ooh,
Pisces service announcement.
coming through. Uh, people in the world, those who are listening and those who will listen in the near future, it's important that when you are wearing your mask, that you are not having a full-blown conversation with your girlfriend about the happenings of life for over an hour while you're doing your grocery shopping. Because all of the cackling and the hee-hees and the ha-has is not healthy for the redistribution of air in the mass. Sis, I believe that I had a little bit of carbon dioxide poisoning at the Maya.
Oh no, not at the Maya too? In the middle of the pandemic? Oh my.
Right in the middle of said hee ha ha. Sis felt lightheaded. Sis got hot. Sis said, I must go outside before I pass out in the store. When I realized that the mask itself was probably a cool 104 degrees based off of talking temperature.
Your masked talking temperature is up.
Was up. Because that conversation was good, child. And so I almost had passed out. So this is the Pisces service announcement. You know, limit your conversations when you having that mask on. You know, just a nod is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Hey girl, let me call you back when I'm outside in the free air. You know, just be wary. Keep your conversations to a minimum. Don't be like her. Don't be like her.
I'm trying to tell you, girl. I'd also like to include another Pisces service announcement. Mask breath is real. Sis, I was blessed to go curbside and patronize one of my favorite Middle Eastern restaurants, and you know they love all the saffron and the garlic.
Yes.
And I had all the tabbouleh, and I had just all kinds of lovely aromatic things, baby. Ooh, I hopped out that door for a second with my mask on because I wear my mask to the mailbox. I don't want to. I get caught by unmasked folks unaware, and I don't. You know, rather than be rude, no, go. You know, I just. So anyway, I'm in my mask, baby. I went to say hi to the little child on the bike, and sis, you know how you felt lightheaded?
Yes. Yes.
When I tell you I messed up my own olfactories with my own breath. Sis, I got that breath behind that mask, behind that tabbouleh, that garlic sauce, and that sriracha. Girl, it had
It's making you question what was happening when life was back the way that it was.
Listen,
it's like,
I questioned my whole taste bud situation. I was like, did that really taste good? Because boy, your breath is saying something entirely
different. All of those spices, and I love Indian food too, Middle Eastern food. I just love the spice content. Such deliciousness, but together in a mouth that probably hasn't been doing a lot of air intake. Limiting conversations. It might have had, you know, what they call a festering occurring.
Oh, not a festering. Ouch. Ouch.
They was being friendly with each other. Yes, I promise you. Besides that, this time has really taught me a couple of things about myself, because sometimes you be moving so fast in life that this kind of slow pace, you discover some things that may have just been occurring automatically, but you say, I don't know if that's the best way to do things.
Yeah.
So I use a natural deodorant.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me let you. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. That just tickled me because this. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
let you tell your story. I'm sorry. Okay,
Yes,
I'm a
yes,
holder there. Go
yes,
ahead.
yes. So I wear a natural deodorant, and I guess in my mind, I felt that because I wasn't going outside or 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 doing things. I'm in the house. I'm not sweating. It's air conditioned in here.
Oh.
Maybe this is the time for a deodorant detox. Sometimes you gotta like free yourself from
Uh-uh.
addressing yourself and allow your skin to regenerate. And so
Okay.
I had did a good shea butter,
Oh.
sugar scrub under my arms. I, shaved and all of those things, super moisturized. Put my witch hazel under to soothe, and I just was feeling really good. I was showing everybody in my house how beautiful my armpits were. I'm like, look at this, look at this. But I
Uh-oh.
did not put on any deodorant.
Mm.
And maybe about on the third day, like when Jesus got up.
Uh-oh. On the third day, that smell rose up.
On the third day, the smell. And I was walking around like, who is in here smelling like outside on the inside? I was so
But we been
offended.
in the inside.
I'm smelling cushions. I'm smelling pillows. I done picked up James's shoes, little James's shoes. I'm opening up the refrigerator like it's something. I done smelled the garbage. I'm just, and the only way I discovered it was when the doorbell rang and the Amazon delivery driver had dropped off a package, and I bit down to pick up the 2 boxes. And I was like, I could get both of these at the same time. I'm going to put one on this little shoulder and I'm going to grab the other one with my other arm. And when I lifted to put that box on the shoulder, I was like, yeah. Low, sis. Low, it was me.
Oh.
So we quickly went to remedy that situation. And so
Quickly.
the tale, of this story is that deodorant detoxes only work probably for one day, maybe a 2 day, but certainly 3 days with no natural deodorant is a no for me.
Wow. Not to be funny, but at any point did you say, why is it always where I'm at that I smell this smell? I mean, I'm really curious because I know at some point you just had to be like, what? But I love
sis,
how you went through all the other suspects.
Look, sis. This shows you how arrogant I am in my olfactory situation. This is what I'm telling you, sis. I'm arrogant. I knew it could not possibly have been me. I was ready to get some people together, not realizing it was me that was the people.
Wow.
So that's a good self-discovery. I'm happy about that. I'm happy.
I am as well. Side note, you mentioned that you used, all natural deodorant. And I've tried the Tom's brand and those kinds and whatnot. I put on some Tom's up under my underarms. My underarms stung, wept up, and got funky. I said,
yeah.
So I couldn't put on any, I don't know. I have to use regular deodorant because I don't, I mean, I smell like I had held my mule all night long by the armpit.
Oh.
See?
And I've smelled the
Church
mule.
folks know
I've,
the mule. When you holding that mule.
Yeah. I'm glad we both have been freed from the funks, sis.
Freed from the funk, sis. Let
Yes.
me tell you. Oh my goodness, we better get into this show.
Come on.
Listen, people, we have covered it all. We have been there, done that, but we want to officially welcome you to the 128th episode of the Pisces Life podcast. We are just two fish living our dreams in these podcast streets, trying not to be funky, messing up our own olfactory systems
Situations, yes.
as well as yours. I am just Letitia, one of the two Pisces hosting the show, and on the other mic, my Pisces sis swimming around. If you already don't know,
peace, y'all. It's Kyla.
Hey. So,
y'all.
sis, of other few pertinent Pisces service announcements, it's still a pandemic.
Just in case y'all didn't know.
It's still a pandemic. Hashtag wear your masks. Hashtag wear your damn masks. Hashtag why are you in these streets without a mask? Period.
It's becoming problematic yet again.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we understand. If you are not going to have a mask on, you need to be 10 to 12 feet away from the people that you're talking to. If they're singing, it needs to be more than that. If they're shouting, it needs to be more than that. We're not saying don't go be with your kinfolk and your friend folk. Just protect yourself. Just protect
yourself, okay? Now, sis, there may be some people listening to our podcast that might need some lingual assistance, and I know you speak several of the differences. So hit them with the wear your damn mask in Espanol, please.
Wear your damn maskio. Is that
El comprehende? Did I hit it right?
Capiche?
Capiche.
Capiche?
And for our other friends who speak, I know you speak another language. Hit it with them, sis. Wear your damn mask in.
We're going to do this in the country language. Because I see y'all down there think because y'all in rural spaces that y'all don't have to wear your mask either. A people down in the South. You hear me? Is this thing on? Wear your dang on mask, okay? I mean, if you want to go ahead and drink the moonshine, fine. It ain't gonna cure the coronavirus, all right?
All that sugar corn that you soaking out back, it ain't gonna hit that corona like you might need it to.
And I guess the thing that has struggled with, that I struggle with, and the reason why I didn't speak the languages is because if you go globally and look at the numbers,
they're down.
Globally, everybody else is doing better
than we are, except for Brazil. I mean, that's not saying much, but except if there's an exception, it's Brazil.
Well, there's probably a lot of Americans handling their life in Brazil, and we know why. We know why.
We definitely know why. But we just wanted to get you I got another one. Where your mask is. Where your mask at. Where your mask is.
Where your mask is. I like that one. I've heard that one. That was my best friend's baby said that to her grandmama. Where is your mask is, grandma?
Right.
From the mouths of babies.
From the mouths of babies, honey. I'm telling you. Also, Pisces service announcement. We're still fighting the pandemic of racism in this country, sis.
Certainly.
White folks are losing their jobs all over the place because of their Karen antics, okay? I know this one made the news. Karen cut a fool in Michigan at the Chipotle, pulled out her pistol, which after my careful review of the tape from multiple angles, I mean, she was never going to pull that trigger. She was never going to pull that trigger. That was extreme brandishing. Or I'll just let the courts handle it. She and her husband were charged with felonious assault. That is the update on that. And the husband also, who was an officer at, a Veterans Affairs officer for admissions and scholarships, that type of area, at Oakland University. And Oakland University was swift with the, we don't condone that. So, public service announcement. We are still fighting the pandemic of racism in this country. Please cover yourselves. Now, I'm calling on folks of faith out here today.
Come on.
Will you please put all Black people on your prayer list that we stop running into Karens, and more so, even though we know that, God is quite busy and he can do all things. And also put it on your prayer list that Karens stop doing the Karening out here.
But you
and
know
the
what?
Karen and owns.
It needs to be a Karen rehab.
Oh gosh. Girl, we should be in charge of the Karen rehab section that covers social graces out in the public.
We probably need a curriculum.
Girl, definitely include the class, Why Can't I Touch Your Hair 101.
Yes.
We should cover that.
Absolutely.
Another class that we should have, I may be married to a Black husband, but. And then we should have good San Francisco Karen guest in on that. The one that, I have a Black husband. I have that one.
Yeah.
Other courses.
I would say I speak English too. Stop being surprised.
Ooh, boom. I see the relevance.
Yes. If I hear from one more white person, you speak so well. What? As
articulate.
If. You're so articulate. Wait, what? Oh. Okay. Yep. Let's go with that. The subsection to I have a Black husband should be, but I have a Black friend.
Ooh, yeah.
It's a subsection.
Yeah.
That's part of it. This should be a really popular course.
Which one?
Citizens arrest.
Oh my! Can I co-teach that one?
Yeah. And how not to beat nobody but. Even when they deserve it.
Wow. We're going to file that under the MLK series.
Yes.
The nonviolence series. The nonviolence special series. So that's for you Negroes who want to remain peaceful. Yes, God. It takes all kinds. It does. It really does. This movement requires many parts.
Can you just see the peace circle happening? My name is Emily, and my neighbor decided that she wanted to put a Make America Great flag in her front porch, on her front porch in her lawn. The same lawn that I got to walk past to get to where I'm going.
Have mercy.
And every time I see Emily out there going to get her mail, the thoughts of judo chopping her in the neck just won't leave my spirit. But God.
But God.
They'd be like, yes, Emily, testify.
Oh, Lord, I tell you, if I ever get called to preach, I'm going to do this sermon, how the Lord kept me during Corona. But God.
Oh,
the choir will come now with the A, B, and the C selection for the Corona to disappear. Oh, God, glory. Glory. Now, sis, this next part, it's no laughing matter.
Uh-oh.
But this tea, when I tell you, when the whistle from the teapot went off, I said, what it is? What it is? This teapot started simmering this past Wednesday before the what I call the long cookout weekend. I don't acknowledge it as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
This, the Pisces Life listeners have heard us talk about our wonderful time that we had at Essence Festival, covering that, bringing that to y'all, baby. That was one of the best. I mean, we just finished reminiscing about that a few episodes ago. So, get on it. Go to our SoundCloud. Get on it.
Yes.
Go back and listen,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
We just finished saying how wonderful it was. First of all, I didn't even know the Essence Festival this year, that's normally the 4th of July weekend. It normally happens in New Orleans. Y'all know this. It's been going on for years and years and years and years. First of all, I didn't even know the festival had apparently went to a virtual carnival and was renamed the Essence Carnival.
You and me both, sis, and I think that that's because of what the news that broke out pre the festival. Folks was kind of keeping a low profile. You know how that goes. So it was like, we gonna tweet every 12 hours that this is going on, with the hopes that somebody discovers it later and can just watch it back.
Absolutely. It was the strangest thing, for good reasons, which we're building up to. This is what we call building up the hype, because it's good, girl. Because when we get to this tea here, we gonna let the glass clank with the spoon. Do you want 1 lump or 2? You want a shot of honey or a Henny? I don't.
Whiskey, preferably.
The Hennessy it is with the tea, girl. Yes. So anyhow, long story short, so there was barely any tweeting going on. I got on this morning right before our podcast recording to look and see. I went to the top category, hashtag Essence Fest. Top tweet got 400 tweets, likes. 400. Miss Patty LaBelle, yes, Auntie Patty. Great Auntie Patty, whatever you want to call. I don't know, but she said, I'm here doing my virtual concert. She's saying, if only you knew, and she might have been the only one who did know. Her little tweet only got like 300-400 retweets.
So we'll speak about kind of some marketing missteps after we talk about the news.
So here we go. Now listen, this is one of those moments where you need to tell the kids, I am busy. Tell the husband, partner, girlfriend, whatever you got going on. Listen, this comes from medium.com. Okay. This is called The Truth About Essence. And it is published on medium.com by Black Female Anonymous, which you can follow on Twitter, Facebook, and the Instagram, which keeps it going. I'll just read a couple of highlights. We are hashtag Black Female Anonymous. We present ourselves under the condition of anonymity for fear of retaliation, intimidation, and the maligning of our media careers. We demand the immediate resignation of Essence Ventures owner and chief executive officer. Is it Richelieu?
Richelieu, yes.
Essence Venture board member and former Essence Communications CEO Michelle E. Banks, Chief Operating Officer Joy Collins Profit, and Chief Content Officer Moana Liu. We are calling for AT&T, Coca-Cola, Chase, Bank, Ford, McDonald's, Procter & Gamble, Walmart, and Warner Media to immediately eliminate all active or future sponsorship and media buys at Essence Ventures until the company is under new leadership. And then there's a link, sign the petition. I'm going to skip down a little bit and get to the meat of this right here. Historically a haven for Black female media professionals who couldn't get roles at major publishers like Hearst and Condé Nast due to racial bias. The magazine's very first cover in May 1970 boldly presented a Black woman in a natural afro with a tantalizing cover line asking Black men, "Do you love me?"
Mm.
Now, Black men, we're going to come to that question on another episode later. Stay tuned. Today, the company's predominantly Black female workforce is asking Essence itself, "Do you love us like we love you?"
Mm. Mm.
I'll go here. The last comment that I wanted to share from the medium before we get into our discussion. Essence is the most deceptive Black media company in America. Why? Essence aggressively monetizes hashtag Black Girl Magic, but the company does not internally practice hash girl Black Girl Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I said hash girl, sorry, hashtag Black Girl Magic.
Mm-hmm.
The company's long-standing pattern of gross mistreatment and abuse of its Black female employees is the biggest open secret in the media business. Now, update before we have our discussion. The C-suite executives aforementioned that were called to be fired, most of them have been fired. Not all just yet, but most of them have been fired
Yeah, I
or
believe
have departed.
right. I believe Richelieu stepped down,
Yeah,
but
Richelieu said, "I'm out."
he's still the owner
Boom.
of Essence because of his investment. So if we could just walk back a couple of steps,
Please. Come on, sis.
if the listeners remember, or if you don't, I will inform you now that Essence had gotten itself into some financial trouble and had been sold to a non-minority company. And Richelieu Dennis, who is from the Shea Moisture Company, had came in to buy this Essence, the debt of
Yes.
Essence from this non-minority owner to push Essence, quote unquote, back into the hands of Black people. But as the saying goes, power corrupts. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And so there's been these claims that he has behaved inappropriately and has tarnished almost the name of Essence because of the lack of leadership and the appointment of people who are close to him but had no magazine experience, and the minimalization of the talented work staff and core of thought leaders and journalists and content creators that contribute to the publication. And this is just so shameful. But I am happy that even in this space of racial unrest, which is primarily focused on external responses, that there has been courage demonstrated for some internal responses. We clean in our own houses too.
Absolutely. Point well made. Point well made. I said I had quoted the last thing, but I want to go back to one more thing from hashtag Black Female Anonymous. This was something that they closed with. The demand for a new America calls for the complete accountability of all Americans, even those of us in Black America and our cultural institutions. Black women deserve to feel safe both in white America and Black America.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Which brings me to our another point.
Mm-hmm.
We have a special episode of Current Flow that is coming up that I'm so excited about.
Me too.
We've been working behind the scenes and creating a moment in time where we're going to celebrate the lives of our sisters who've fallen into violence and have not received the love or the support that is necessary to achieve justice and just to pay homage and honor to their memory. So we're really excited about that uh, opportunity to share that show with you. So look out for the announcement.
Yes, you won't want to miss it. I mean, this is one of the moments where you should mark your calendars for it
Mm-hmm.
when we get it all together. Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. So there's been some other things happening in the media, sis, that
Mm.
is going to make me stay tuned to the red table talk a little
Oh,
closer.
not that red table. Not that red table talk. Sis, was it jumping? Give us the tea on this.
So apparently, August Alsina, the artist, I believe he's like a rapper. Is he a rapper or is he a singer or is he both?
Girl, I don't
don't know.
know. I didn't know his name honestly till this week.
I knew his name because he had been on their show previously
Mm.
on the Red Table Talk. But
Oh.
August Alsina, who is a friend of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith's children.
Mm. Excuse me, wait.
Yeah. Apparently it was announced on Angela Yee's podcast from August Alsina himself that he and Jada had a relationship of sorts, an intimate one
Oh.
that Will Smith himself had provided permission for him to pursue. And Twitter just went up.
Listen.
And then Jada then dropped the proverbial mic that has us in the news reporting space and information sharing space, and those of us who are just nosy as heck,
Mm-hmm.
salivating. Sis, what did she say?
Listen, she said, there is a need for healing, and I'm going to bring myself to the red table talk.
Mm.
She said she's going to bring herself to the table. Sis, the only question that I had is when, Jada?
Can we get a schedule? Do you need us to make you a flyer? Like you it was so evasive. I'm like, what is like when though? Like when after you talk to an attorney? Like
Right. Is Will in the background? Like I'm cutting the table off. I'm cutting. Ain't nobody gonna be on the table. I'm painting the table black now.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I don't know. I don't.
Well, we're waiting, Jada. We are
And
waiting.
I mean, we waiting. I'm waiting.
We waiting, and I hope that what you share, because I really like Red Table Talk. It's been really a good moment in kind of this media experience that I really loved. I love the format of it, and that it's women at the table. I love all of that.
I love the enter.
Yes, I really hope that this moment that she speaks about herself in this particular situation is one that will help bring about healing not only for herself but for others. I hope that it's not PR 101. We've now paid off August Alsina. I hope it's not that. I hope it's really a very vulnerable moment for her, because if what they if what he says is true, and with the internets and all of the assumptions about kind of their lifestyle or lack thereof is true, I think it will offer a lot of freedom for many people.
I can get with that. I agree. I think that it's one of those moments. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier. I was going to say I love the intergenerational
Oh yes, yes, yes.
space of
Red
the
table.
red table.
Me too.
And whatever happened in August Alsina's mind, it was very real. Whatever level of sharing that they did, it was something that endeared to him. This was what the old folks say, a soul tie for sure.
Oh yes,
For
yes,
sure, for sure, for sure.
yes.
And I could see there was a certain, he was so vulnerable with it. And I'm like, if he was lying, as the Twitter streets tried to get him for, I just, wow, give him the Oscar then. Cause I honestly do not believe that there was something that happened, and could they, in a way that they connected, well, in a way, at least he connected from his end, based on the way he expressed himself, that it was deep. It meant something for her. Now, the internet is just horrible. The internet is horrible. The internet done clowned.
The internet the internet is not a safe space. Don't go there. don't
don't
go there.
do hashtag August Alsina, whatever you do. Don't do that one.
Don't do it.
Our cousins can be oh, they just have no mercy. They have nothing but time with these memes out here.
And they be quick with them too. Did you see the meme with this Jada talking to herself?
I can't stand at the red table. Why somebody gonna tweet out, well, in the Kevin Hart meme blinking like this, well,
right. The other meme I saw that took me down was, like, I guess it was an award ceremony, and August Alsina had Jada in a really tight embrace, like they were posing for a picture. You know how someone stops you, say, "Hey, can I take a picture?" And you with whoever you are, and you kind of hug up. Well, in the background of that picture is Queen Letitia.
I saw the same one, and I promise you, Queen could not lie about that if she wanted to, baby. That side eye was like, look at this. Yeah. You know how your aunties be standing? Corona done snatched up Black Family Reunion season, but you remember how your aunties be standing up in the corner over there by the drink, staying cool by the fan, and they see your cousin and his new girlfriend again, different one from Easter, and they talking about it. That's how Queen Latifah looked at the background of that picture, like,
so hilarious. Like
we
we know y'all was together. We know it. Y'all not saying it, but we know it. Well, we waiting. That's what we trying to say. We waiting, and we'll see. We'll see what
we'll show enough be back here to talk about it.
We will. Indeed. Indeed. Well, you know what's coming next, sis.
Sis, what?
The 4th season of Insecure.
Oh my.
Has concluded.
Oh my. Bravo all around. We shout out the Noob, Apprentice. I follow him on Instagram and Twitter. We definitely all hail the Queen and stands.
Yes.
Miss Issa Rae.
Yes.
Miss
Yvonne Orji.
Yes. We want to call her Yoji. I like that's her real first and last name. I'm so wrong, but I know this Nigerian lady, and that's what she called her, and it just tickled me. It just tickled me, and so I have that in my mind first. Yes. But I'm just
Natasha Rothwell.
I love her. That's my comedy twin in my mind.
She's
amazing. So hilarious.
Amanda Seales.
Yes, Amanda Seales.
Jay Ellis.
Who was right about some stuff, by the way, and her hashtag drama with the big sports guy. Did you saw?
I saw that.
Look it up. that tea simmered really, I'm telling you right now, we are out here. Hashtag Black women are out here. We out here. You
We
are
are
not going to
definitely.
treat us any kind of old way in silence no more. We coming together, sis.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord, season 4, I don't know if they came together or fell apart and got back together. Oh boy. Let's just dive right on into it, sis. I want to kind of go with, our top 3 episodes from um Insecure season 4. Top 3 episodes, scenes, or character movements
Yes.
that mattered this season. So again, give me your top 3 episodes, seasons, or character movements that mattered this season on Insecure.
Yes. So my first one was that Molly and Issa almost fight
Oh
that
yes.
happened at the end of the block party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you have friends, sorority sisters, that we have, and
Mm-hmm.
family members that are as close as like you are your best friends,
Mm-hmm.
and then vice versa, best friends that feel like family members. Certainly there's been falling outs. I don't think that there's
Oh
been
yes.
anybody that hasn't had a moment where they was like, "This girl crazy. Is she crazy? Am I crazy?" And so them having their differences and kind of these growth moments between them in their relationship, I think was expected. I actually was waiting for it to move from
Mm.
everything is all good in the patterns that they have established for their friendship, to what happens when someone grows, whether that was Issa getting married, or Yvonne getting married, or someone having a baby. It happened to be Tiffany, but what if one of them had got
Mm-hmm.
pregnant or something? I knew that it was going to change the dynamics of their friendship. So I
Right.
really wanted to see that explored, because we really
Mm-hmm.
didn't get a lot of that. We got, this feels certainly like Joan Clayton and Tony Childs. This is,
Oh yeah.
you
That
know,
type of break. It was
that
deep.
it was deep. It was definitely deep. But the fact that they almost came to blows, like
Right.
in the face, almost to blows, reminded me of a situation that I had with my ship, who was one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was so caught off guard that she wanted to fight me. Like, I could not believe that. And now mind you, it was summertime. It was hot. It was hours of day drinking into into night drinking. But I was so stunned that she had such deep-seated anger towards me, which the
Mm,
situation really had nothing to do with the years and years of things that she wanted to say, but just didn't have the courage to say it to me. And it blew up in a Pepe's restaurant, sister.
uh-oh.
Where I had to get carried out on somebody's shoulder
Oh.
to stop us from finna fight. And it wasn't that I was going to fight her, but I certainly wasn't gonna let her just fight me. Now let me
Uh,
just be
right.
clear.
Make that clear now.
I am my daddy's daughter. So we just don't let nobody beat and knock on us. That's not what we do. But that moment, like that intense moment, when Molly got the case of the Can't Help It, like she couldn't have called in the morning and talk about it. She just had to say it, like
Mm.
like I have people in my life who get the case of the Can't Help It often.
Oops. Are you
No,
are you
not.
you looking right at me? I mean, I can accept if I'm in a space where I can be,
Not you, sis. Not you,
okay.
sis. Yes,
Okay.
yes, not you, sis.
Okay.
But there are some people in my life who just can't, it doesn't matter the appropriate time or the situation, or
Mm-hmm.
it's just like when it's time for them to erupt, and, it's the time, and then everybody else just has to deal with it. And so
Mm-hmm.
it made me sad, because for them to have been friends for as long as they've been friends, and having ample opportunity to actually sit down and talk about it. Because remember, in the earlier episode, Issa was like, "Are we okay? Like, is everything okay?" Like, that was the moment where it was like, you know what?
Yes.
Let's sit down and talk about like where we are, where we're going, what we've been feeling. But it got brushed over because, again, sometimes the brush over feels like the right move because people aren't ready to say their truth, to speak their truth. But yeah, it was a good episode for me because it was a highlight of Issa kind of transitioning. Her life is shifting in a
Mm-hmm.
way that feels uh, ambitious and exciting, which we as those who watch the show want that for Issa, because normally she'd just be doing the wrong thing. um
Well.
and then at the end of this kind of very victorious moments with all of the ups and downs that had to happen in order for it to happen, the fact that it happened and it was so well received, to have someone who claims that they care about you in your moment, move to trying to reconcile a grievance,
Mm-hmm.
felt just super selfish. And I'm not saying that she wasn't entitled, because Molly has had Issa's back. If you've been watching the show since season one,
Since season one, right.
you know that
Right.
Molly has had Issa's back. I just think I am not trying to take away her power to express her feelings. I just
Right.
thought the timing was just poor. Yes.
And to that fact, timing is everything, which leads me to an overarching shifting moment when Issa got into her groove with figuring out, okay, maybe this is something professionally that I can do. The block party is going to be a reality. And then here comes the ally, Condola. Condola. I just like that name. I honestly do. But she, wow, the eye roll. Oh,
I'm sorry. Shout out to Condola Rashad.
she's
That's
beautiful.
that's the only Condola I rose with.
Right, she is beautiful. Wow. Okay, so
I'm
Dollar
sorry.
Bunny, you
I'm
got it. Dollar Bunny, you got it. Um, but I thought that was a shifting moment for Issa, where she had moved outside of the familiar friend circle that she knew.
mm-hmm,
And, it was a moment if her and Tiffany was unavailable because she's now in that Netherlands of, I've had a baby, I'm
mm-hmm,
married, and life is different
mm-hmm,
now.
mm-hmm,
And Kelly, I I yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Kelly, I'm not really sure. She was in her moment in space of being Kelly. And I thought that Issa had finally had a moment at that. And it was opening me up as a follower of the show to say, uh-oh, what if Issa does get other friends? Am I ready for new people?
Oh, that
Am
is a
I ready
good.
for her to hang out with new people? Like, I mean, I like Condola enough, but like, I didn't want her to be the new crew. Like, she
Mm-hmm,
could join the new crew, which brings me to pivotal moment number 2 that stuck out for me because it was real life situations. When Issa and Condola rolled up, and Molly was like, I thought it was just gonna be us for
mm-hmm.
lunch. Which leads me to this point. Sis, I have a rule. If I invite you to lunch, rest assured, ain't nobody gonna be sitting at that table but me when you arrive without your knowings. Okay?
Absolutely.
That's just the way I roll. Now, I used to be friends with people who didn't operate by that rule.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that would just simply make me decline invitations because I just don't like that. It's just a courtesy thing.
Thank you.
I don't break bread with everybody, particularly people that I may not agree with or like, or however you want to say that. I don't
Mm-hmm,
break bread with everybody.
mm-hmm.
And, so that moment raised the question for me, and it took me back to a particular situation that I had dealt with in my younger years. Can 3 women be friends at the same time?
it can happen, and I have that. I have my best friend from college, and then I have my sorority sister who's also a best friend. But from time to time, sorority sister, best friend, and best friend from college bump heads. For anything that has to be planned for me, that's like a surprise. So a surprise birthday party, or a congratulations of sorts. It ain't never gonna go right, because because under normal circumstances, these two probably wouldn't be friends. They do have things in common, and they've actually hung out outside of me for a variety of reasons. But as far as like holding the best friend moniker, they'll never be best friends. And so I'm the friend in common. And sometimes it's tough being in the middle of all of this energy and positioning, because to me it feels like positioning, like I'm the more entitled friend because I'm, the best friend. You're only the sorority sister. You know what I'm saying? But then but sorority sister has been closer to me because best friend had a baby. And so best friend's been in baby land for a long time. And it's just now coming out of baby land. Because child is, older and more independent. And so it's hard to be the trio, but I do know some trios. But most of the friend girls circles that I know, there may be a large friend girl circle, but there's 2 core members. You know what I mean? Like there's the circle is based off of the relationship. The strength of the circle is based off of the relationship between 2 core members.
Absolutely. I hear you on that. And I echo some of the things that you have shared. It is the 2 core members do tend to put the relationship in a certain space. And it depends on how you all are you added to the core, or are you the core? And sometimes what I was not prepared for was when the core shifted based on things that were allowed. Now, I'll put this I'll put this in context of Insecure in a moment, which is perfectly titled, because it does produce a certain insecurity within your friendships. So, for example, there was a group of us that were 3 of us that were friends, or as I later realized, I was never really a friend, I guess. I think that they were more friends to each other, and I just was tolerated really in this dynamic. And they were, a couple of years older than me, etc. So there were things that they had more in common because of the permissions that they both were allowed. They could do whatever they wanted to do within certain reason at their respective homes. At mine, I had a curfew, couldn't have boys on the phone. If I wasn't with a parent, I was with another relative, or a trusted adult that my parents knew, et cetera, et cetera. And they, I think, became closer friends and better friends over the years because they were allowed to do certain things that, I wasn't allowed to do. And I think that bonded them in a different way. Now, fast forward as adults, when you said that it's a positioning, I don't know if you always intend to position, because in my own situation, it was never to position as much as it was, we're all here. And if we can't share this space, I'm an only child, so I just be like, I don't have to be here. My company is valuable, girl.
Right.
The time I spent keying and people enjoy it, and I enjoy it too. And I value other people's kiki and can too. And, if that's not appreciated or welcomed in your circles, I learned and matured into a space of comfort with myself where I was like, I like my own company enough where I don't even have to tolerate being tolerated. And so that was difficult for me. It was a moment where Issa was going out, and she had met the girls painting. Remember that? There was another time where she had saw Molly and was sitting alone in the Ethiopian restaurant, and she could have went up to her because she was getting ready to go in there and get something to eat, but she saw her and was like, nah, we might still be in a space. And right now, in this second, I don't want to kick it like that about that. And that's okay. I had to learn as a younger woman, and sometimes even at this age, I struggle with it every now and then, but for different reasons. The dynamics of life change. When people have different life circumstances, whether it's have a baby, divorce, get married, remarried, move, all of those different things, it does change the dynamics. And guess what? If we're growing as people and individuals, shouldn't those friendships and stuff grow? But the staple be the friendship.
Right.
But how it blossoms and grows is okay.
Right. But depending upon how your roots are set up, though.
Boom.
As you're blossoming, what direction your tree is facing. Are you stretching towards the sun, or are you reclining? That may determine kind of the shift in the friend group, because everybody doesn't grow at the same rate.
Boom. Or in the same way. And there are some trees that require more sun, i.e. more attention.
Come on.
And there are other trees that require a little bit more shade, i.e. they ain't happy until they done shaded and came on around the sunshine and put the
Come on, Kenya Moore.
Listen.
Oh.
Felt that in my shanda. Girl, felt that all in there in the chakras.
Right.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm free. That
all
was
right. That
free.
Was good, boy. The church can open up the doors now.
Yes.
But we wanted to get into some of those points, but also have some fun, sis.
Yes. Well, let me tell you my second point.
Oh yeah.
My second
girl. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, my second point also involves Condola.
Okay.
Condola and Lawrence.
Oh God.
Was the next relationship after I got divorced. Oh. So my ex-husband, who actually looks like Lawrence a lot, had him a Condola.
Oh.
And they have a baby. And that was a strange space because we were trying to figure it out. We had got divorced.
Yeah.
There had been a traumatic personal thing that had happened that kind of brought us back together. We then determined, okay, like, what are we doing? What should we not? We were in that discovery phase. And then he shared with me that someone else was pregnant.
Wow.
And it stopped whatever interest that I had in reconnecting with him because I knew that I couldn't have kids. So being with someone who had made a baby with someone else, even though we weren't together and all of that. So it wasn't even about that. It was more so about the fact that I was going to have to bear witness yet again to being a stepmother to somebody else's children. Wow. I had already helped raise my ex-husband's 3 kids. And I wasn't ready for children at the time because I was into my career and traveling and doing a lot of things that a baby would have changed. But in the space that we were coming back together, I was actually ready. And the fact that he got someone else pregnant, there was no recovery. And so when we see Issa sitting on the balcony smoking, the marijuana and just trying to like find some peace in her heart and her head, I resonated with that so much because I just couldn't get over it. I just wasn't mature enough. I wasn't reconciled enough in my spirit. And so I don't have any malice towards, of course, the young lady who is the mother of my ex-husband's young son. but certainly I have, again, the show so appropriately titled Insecure. Certainly I have some insecurity around the fact that she was able to do something that I was not able to do. And so that was a striking moment because I had sort of predicted that Condola was pregnant. But then that next episode, when we didn't see or hear from Condola, I was like, Condola's out the way.
Okay.
Now we back to Issa and Lawrence getting a life situated. They are in different spaces. They are, people who've grown, they've experienced other people, and they have made the decision that the best thing that has ever happened to them was each other. So they duped me, sis. And then when the last episode, when she revealed it, because I had healed from it in 2 episodes. I had healed. I was like, yes, I'm over it.
In 2 episodes, you felt better.
Yes, and then Prentice and them dropped it, and I believe Kerry Washington is the one who directed the finale. And so I was like, you know what? I was making the Kerry Washington mouth face. I was like, she act with her mouth. I was like,
yes, she does.
It was like, wow, it's just reminiscent of that time. And I totally understood exactly where Issa was when she was just like, I don't know if I can deal with this. And I was like, sis, you're not going to be able to deal with it, especially if you want your own children, or in my case, trying to heal from the space of knowing that you won't be able to ever get pregnant or give birth. So so it was tough, but not like I was broke down, crying and rocking myself to sleep tough, but it certainly shook up some feelings that had settled. And I was like, man, and it made me just feel so bad because I just remember how horrible I felt. And I'm like, oh, Issa, because Issa like your little puppy, we just wanted to do right, but she just keep missing the paper. be like, Issa, come on, the paper right there. And she like, but the carpet is so much better.
Oh my Lord, have mercy. It has been a struggle on that show with that one. So what has been your third one? What would you say is your third one?
So my third one, I think, is a beautiful place to end for me in summarization. So I'm gonna give my honorable mention though. I had an honorable mention. Can we just acknowledge the dopeness known as Yvonne Orji's, aka Molly's, lingerie when she was on the trip with Andrew?
Okay.
I don't know what I'm not a lingerie wearer. I used to be when I was younger. As I've gotten older, I've gotten away from that. But sister, she made me go on and find me some La Perla or some, because she was beautiful in her lingerie, and it really just made me it reminded me that I have a responsibility to myself to feel sexy and feel feminine, not because I'm trying to, entice the man, but as a way to embrace my own curves. And so it was that was my honorable mention. But my third was when Andrew revealed to Molly during Pillow Talk that Nathan had mental health issues. So, and then Molly, because Molly be so into whatever she thinks, whatever she thinks is right. It caused her to pause, but didn't actually cause her to withdraw. And I think Nathan eventually sharing with Issa that he wasn't in the right space and things were just kind of going in a way or whatever the case may be, and sharing that and her being kind of accepting. She did, she wasn't like, I ain't gonna be messing with you, or like, she wasn't just like, oh, you crazy. She was just like, she said, I'm so sorry. I'm
Right.
so sorry that you had to go through that. Just the way that she embraced him being vulnerable in that moment, I think was so beautiful. Because
Mm-hmm.
in life, I think when people have those type of mental health struggles, it should be like that.
Yeah,
It
absolutely. I
shouldn't
agree.
necessarily be a recap of all of the things that they've done, because some of the things that people have done that haven't been as pleasing or have been problematic or have been, couched in what one would seem to deem as selfishness may have absolutely been a mental health call for help. Issa represented what I think many people who struggle with mental health issues wish that society accepted it in that manner. Because if that was the case, more people would probably talk about it. You know
Mm,
what I mean? More people would
good point.
be, hey, I get anxiety around crowds, so can we, not do crowds as often, or,
Right.
make sure that if it's going to be a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that we kind of, like, people want to be able to share their truth. And I think sometimes we be so wrapped up in whatever we got going on, like Molly,
True.
that we don't really care about their truth. It's more about what our truth is. And having a mental health concern or an issue, whether it's chronic or acute, because there could be
Mm-hmm.
some incident or some environmental stimuli. There are people right now, based on the pandemic, who have totally moved into a mental health space where they have some needs and things are showing up in ways that
Right.
folks have never seen before.
Right. That's so true.
And I just wish that we were a bit more tolerant. And certainly therapy seems to be a little bit more trendy. We saw Molly going to therapy and Insecure. We see
Yes.
we see if you listen to a podcast, you can't listen to your top Black podcasters without hearing one of them do a commercial for Talkspace, or
Mm-hmm.
one of the other online therapy services. And we've had therapists on our show for Current
Yes, we
Flow.
have. Mm-hmm.
um, but it was just nice to see that on TV, because I think, especially externally, Molly looking at Nathan is problematic,
Right.
but Issa is the one who was in the intimate space with Nathan. So certainly
Mm-hmm.
she would know more than what Molly knew. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
happens a lot. I think when the dude is trash, or
Well.
seemingly trash,
Mm-hmm.
us friends externally be like, why are you still dealing with him?
Right.
Things like
Right.
that, when there very well may be a greater reason that the friend may not disclose,
Right.
but that they, are trying to manage the best way they can.
I think that's very important too. I mean, a friend may not disclose every single thing that goes on with them in their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So the perspective that you get is outside looking in. And likewise, that goes both ways. If people do get a negative response or a negative thought about your person, maybe it's through something that you shared, and that's the risk that you take sometimes with being that's not even being vulnerable to, well, I guess it is being vulnerable to let people in, especially when things are not going the best in your relationships. It's hard to admit that stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
This is making me think about when Molly was having to reckon with the imperfections of her father, and she showed up at the house, and we see the dynamics with Molly and her family. And, here comes her dad, and she's still kind of shading her daddy. And she's looking at the one brother like, you just like him, gonna be making these babies all over town and blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it made me think about something else that could be explored within that character is, how do you reconcile the disappointment from your fathers and then move on into relationships and truly be ready to love somebody and to love them in that way that they need to be loved, even if that may be one of their flaws or that is one of your flaws that you fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The
Mm-hmm.
most. So that was another space. And the other point that I thought that stuck out for me was the Tiffany situation. I didn't really know. I'm sorry, to Prentice. I am. But I didn't really like it. I didn't like it. And I'm not saying this because, I had really spent a lot of time. I think I had told you that I entered a contest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we could do was write a spec script on Insecure. And so I wrote the spec script, did not get selected, but I thought it was a really good, worthwhile script. But it was a script that spun off of both Kelly and off of Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
And it spun off of that conversation when Tiffany and Issa from season 2 coming into 3, when she was pregnant and they were at the store, that was when she saw Lawrence all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, looking down at her stomach at the time she was pregnant, she was like, dang, this is going to change stuff. Who are we kidding? This is going to change us, everything.
Right.
That moment, picking up to the script that I had written, explored Kelly's dynamics of why is she that responsible friend in this group with this side of debauchery all the time. Girl, when she peed on herself at Coachella, remember me different. Oh God.
Was
Sorry.
the best line
That's
of this.
my best.
She said.
Sorry. But I interrupted my own point. That's my best point. But the funniest. But that moment that made me think about what is it about Kelly that makes her so responsible to Tiffany, who's now shifting into motherhood, which in season 4, we saw Kelly holding the baby and was like, look, I'm trying to babysit. I'm trying to help, trying to do my part. That is your girl. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in the script that I wrote, the spec script, we ended up looking at Kelly and the dynamics from her home and her home life. And there she was, responsible for everybody for different reasons. Some families that operate like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had a duplex side by side. She lived on one side in her own peace and quiet, and the dysfunction of her family that she's responsible for is on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, the character, had an opportunity to try and get back in the mix. So that's where I turned up my funny, as a writer and as a person who is a fan of the show. But it's a hard way for people to get back into the mix of life, mothers.
Mm-hmm.
He showed that on one hand. It was the Tiffany way with, to be somewhere bougie, hold up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also a moment for me to think about how our girlfriends get into the fold after they've had a life event like having a baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been a part of certain circles of friends where they were not as accepting when our homegirl came back like, what did I miss? What did I miss? Rah, 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 rah. Let's go out. Girl, we got over to her house, and this is actually what I based my spec script on for the show. We got to the house, girl, and she was breastfeeding. We had to be quiet, and it was like,
right.
All the sign language. I'm gonna be ready to go out in a minute. Girl, we ended up having snacks at the crib that night and turning on some music, because by then the baby is back up. All of that stuff. So you adjust in those friend groups if they're valued by you. And I think that that's the salient thing that I took from season 4, that all of them are in a moment of really assessing what is valuable to them and what is shifting in the priorities of those values. Molly, I hope she makes it work with Asian Bae. But if she got to go to dinner with his brother and his wife, that's a wrap. I don't know if Molly is in that healing space yet.
Yeah,
enough space.
I don't think so. And should she be? Because that speaks about the trauma of racism.
Yes.
Some of us have been beat down, and based on what Molly does with her being an attorney, I'm sure she has experienced that corporately, in law school. Just the trauma of racism makes your heart hard and unforgiving, because it's not a kind space to have to exist in for prolonged times, and most of us have had to endure for such a long time, and it shows up in other ways too. So I would love for us to talk about that and play the game on the next episode. We should do an insecure little pop-up special because I have
Okay.
a couple of things that I want to talk to, but this show has gone too long, girlfriend.
Girl, okay, yes, we can do it next time. To be continued insecure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It will be.
Oh, this was good catching up, sis. I'm so happy. We've been working really hard doing other
Yes,
things, so it was nice to be able to kind of have a fun show.
it was. I'm going to go painting and then I'm going to get back to the other things that we've been working on off air.
Okay,
Ooh, they're going to
perfect.
be so surprised.
Yes. Lots of good stuff.
Yes.
Well, this has been another episode of the Pisces Life. We hope that you found something interesting, enjoyable, and most importantly, if you have, please share. Please share the show. We're trying to, build our listening audience back up, and we need you to help us to be able to do that. So, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can send those directly to thepisceslife@gmail.com. If you are wanting to send us a tweet, we'll be reading them tweets, child. Tweet us at Pisces Podcast, 2 words, on Twitter, and we're on Instagram as the Pisces Life Podcast. Sis, if they're looking for you, where can they find you in these social media streets?
They can find me as always at I am just Letitia. And I mean, I can't do no more. I can't be nobody else. I ain't interested, girl. That's all I got.
Yes.
I am just Letitia. And where can they find you if they're looking for you, sis?
They can find me on Facebook and Twitter at Kai Loves You, KAILOVESU. I am on Instagram with Kai Loves You 2. Just add the number 2 to that. We out here, y'all. Y'all be safe now. Peace.
Peace.
The Pisces Life, the Pisces Life.